Today, I'm going to be showing you how to lose weight naturally in 2022. So you click this video, obviously I can tell you're trying to find some tips on how to lose weight, gain some information, pass it along. Something in particular to losing weight. So these are the top 23 tips for helping women lose weight, but of course this can be for men as well. But specifically, we're just gonna say women because of certain hormones and processes and things like that. I'm a woman myself and I'm taking some of this advice and sharing with you and doing a little research, as well as looking into some research that other people did, so these tips actually work. Now, for a little background, I know some of you guys may know me if you're already subscribed to the channel. For those of you who are new, I'm gonna give you a little background to tell you how I'm even qualified to talk about some of this stuff. So for me, I did graduate from George Mason University with a bachelor's in kinesiology. If you don't know what that is, I like to try to sum it up for you guys. It's basically human anatomy and physiology, which is the study of your body, human movement. Basically, it's processes, how we move and things that get us moving and stuff like that. So it's a wide variety. I'm talking down to muscles, bones, tendons, from sports athletes, the processes and systems they use. We talk a little bit about ATP, energy, Krebs cycles, if you guys know what some of that stuff is. Down to nutrition. There's other people who could be more related into dietitians and all the foods that we need to physically make our body move. What kind of those foods, that may help with certain hormones and vitamins and things we need to help us move and get energy. And again, down to sports again, anaerobic, aerobic, if you do running or more lifting, power lifters. We kind of talk about a lot of the stuff. It goes down to PT, you can go into research, and it's just like endless categories. But just to give you a background so you understand, basically I found this article on Healthline and they actually have research behind this too. This is a good site, and I'm also on a healthcare journey as well. Some may think if you're already in this field, why would you need to do this and lose weight? Life happens. Sometimes you have to do some of these things. So I'm working on tips myself. And if you haven't heard before, doctors are kind of like the worst patients. That kind of goes along the same field with like healthcare and stuff like that. A lot of the people may be like that, not all, but sometimes I am one where we like to give and take care of others before we even take care of ourselves, which is not a good thing. So that's why I'm switching some things up and I'm showing you guys some healthcare journey and stuff like that from my perspective. I'm trying to lose weight as well, more so targeting the belly area. And I know a lot of people want to lose weight fast. You kind of can do that, but at the same time, you don't want to do that. You want to do it a healthy and natural way, which is why I'm doing some research and I'm showing you. I'm going to take you guys on the journey with me as well. So if you are not a subscriber, you can subscribe as well, so you can kind of stay tuned with me on some of these videos and stuff. So that's a lot of what I'm going to be talking about now. And for these tips, we're going to be talking a lot about nutrition, different types of exercises, and like of course some of the foods and just like overall health things that we need to do to help us lose weight as well. So like I said, that's a target for me, is trying to lose some weight myself. So I'm going to be reading off some of this stuff from the site. I'll put the link down below if you guys want to check that out. But again, I'm going to be putting timestamps too, so you guys can follow along as I go through each one of these top steps. I'm going to kind of talk to you in a little bit more detail and also share kind of what I want to do for myself and goals. Also, it's something for me to look back on my journey and for you guys to see too. You can always rewind it, skip ahead, find different points and tips that you want that work for you. But just in case, I realize me in this healthcare field and kinesiology, exercise science and all that, some people might not be so familiar with some of the elements and terms and things like that. So I kind of want to break it down a little bit more, make it more simple for those of you who may not know. And if you do know, sometimes we may just forget or not think about some of these things. So it'll kind of get us back on track. So I want to go over this with you guys. So just stay with me as we go through some of these tips. So most people, when you're trying to lose weight, you think it's always just diet and exercise. Sometimes it's not always that simple. It's a lot of stuff in between. So just besides the fact of going run to lose weight or eating salads all day to lose weight, that's not always the case. So we're going to break down a little bit further in these steps. And I want to read one quote here. Like I said, this site is from researchers as well. They researched this and it's evidence-based. So I trust these sites more because they actually go into other articles from other doctors and nutritionists and other people who actually study this and pull information from that. So kind of use as discretion. Everything might not work for everyone, but you can pull some tips that might work for you. In fact, studies show that everything from sleep quality to stress levels can have a major impact on hunger, metabolism, body weight, and belly fat. Completely true. And as we go down the line, like I said, I'm going to tell you some things that have affected me as well, because I'm already thinking of some things, but I don't want to jump ahead for you guys. So tip number 1 is to cut down on refined carbs. So these kind of carbs like spike glucose level, they increase your hunger, and of course belly fat and things like that, which we don't want. So if you're trying to limit some of these carbs and stuff like that, some examples may be like breads, pasta, and prepackaged food. So instead, they're suggesting that we try whole grain products like oats, brown rice, quinoa, buckwheat, and barley. Now, I follow a low FODMAP diet, if you guys don't know. So some things, it's kind of hard for me. I don't know if some of you guys follow me for that as well. So I'm kind of helping some people with that as well. So for me, of course, I can find gluten-free oats. Quinoa is naturally, I believe, gluten-free, and that's something I actually do like. I like it mixed with rice. I think there's some mixed quinoa and rice before. They have like that is pre-packaged, which you want to stay away from, but you know, healthier than bread and pasta. So, you know, you can substitute different kinds of ways that you may need to. But barley, I think barley might be on the list of low FODMAP that you can't have, or certain amounts. That's things that I also research and test for myself to see what kind of tolerance I can have, because that's what the FODMAP is. If you want to see me talk more about that, you guys can check out other videos with that as well. But we're going to go into tip number 2, which is adding resistance training. Now, adding resistance training, if you don't know, that's lifting weights. That basically builds muscles and improves endurance. So of course, women over 50, it helps all women of all ages, but women over 50, sometimes we might need to do that a little bit more to help with our body changes. Now, there are different ways you can do resistance training. That's also lifting weights. You can do body weight exercises or use like gym equipment. Like you see, sometimes we use dumbbells, you know, the lifting barbells and things like that, kettlebells. You can do that as well. You don't have to lift crazy amounts of weights if you can't handle it. Just slight weight. Anything is going to help. Even if you do body weight, learning how to use your body, you can increasingly make it harder. You don't always have to use weights at all by any means. Tip number 3, drink more water. This is something I definitely struggle with. I'm definitely going to have to use this as well. Everyone knows drinking more water. You see people walking around with those gallons of water bottles. You may think it's, you know, over the top. Sometimes people may need it. For me, I cannot drink that much. I tried. But finding methods that work for you, trying to have glasses here and there. I did try waking up in the morning, drinking a glass of water. They say it's really good as well. When you first wake up, helps stimulates the brain and get you going. I noticed that does kind of wake me up faster, so that's one thing to do. And some people do have those bottles. You can either buy the super big ones or, you know, the smaller 16, 20 so ounce bottles that have the time limits, and then you actually just fill them up again, and then, you know, you look at the other side, it has the afternoon time slots. If that's something you struggle with, you can try that. Me personally, just keeping a water bottle around there or one of those cups, that also helps for me, you know, just, I don't want to say mindless drinking in a way. You just see your cup, you start taking sips, so it helps you get hydrated, because I recently had an episode where I was really dehydrated, and that's not good. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you guys tips as well as for myself, kind of talking more and further with it. So they're looking back at here again, so I don't get sidetracked. They're saying that a small study shows drinking 16.9 ounces of water temporarily increased the number of calories burned by 30% after 30 to 40 minutes. So research, there's your proof right there. Oh, one other thing too, most people say drinking a glass of water before your meal can help. That may help you feel more full and reduce the amount of calories you're actually taking in, which is still not a bad thing, because you're going to eat healthy foods along this journey as well, so that's okay. For fewer calories, because you're eating good food as well. You're not going to miss any nutrients. Tip number 4, you want to eat more protein. That's something I noticed too. When I put more protein in my diet, that does actually help. So that's kind of take away some of those refined carbs that we talked about before, and adding our protein, which can be chicken if you like red meat, beef, steak. There's other ways if you're vegan or vegetarian, of course, eggs, peanut butter, some of your nuts and things like that. People who follow a high protein diet can actually curb their hungerness and feel fuller, and it also boosts your metabolism as well. So the research part of that point, one small 12-week study also found that increasing protein intake by just 15% decreased daily calorie intake by an average of 441 calories, resulting in 11 pounds of weight loss. That's really good. So number 5 also, which is really important for me, is set a regular sleep schedule. People have a problem with that. Me, myself, I have to take melatonin, and I end up staying up really late sometimes, but it's not a good idea. And then you have to wake up early. Your body's not giving enough time to sleep. That also affects your hormones, your brains, and thinking like that. So that's one thing I've been working well with. And I notice too, when I get more sleep, I perform better, good energy throughout the day, also for your workouts and stuff like that. So that is a very big thing that I notice, and without the sleep, it throws everything else off, like with my body systems and all of that. So they're saying studies suggest that getting enough sleep may be just as crucial to losing weight as the diet and exercise, which, speaking for myself, I can truly say that is super, super duper true. And multiple studies show that sleep deprivation with increased body weight and higher levels of other hormones are responsible for stimulating hunger. So speaking again on kinesiology, of course they're saying when your body has these certain hormones that we're not producing, sleep is something that happens. Of course, melatonin is something that's naturally in your body that helps you go to sleep, which my body I don't think produces enough of, so that's why I had to take a supplement. And without the sleep, it produces other hormones to increase, which is cause of increased hunger and things like that, and restlessness. So that's a very big important. Sleep is very, very, very important. And with improving sleep quality, it's for weight loss succeeded by 33% if you increase your sleep quality, guys. That's actually something really simple and easy, natural. So these are natural steps, like I said, for you guys, without taking all these extra supplements and stuff. And one thing I did forget about the protein, I believe chia seeds are good in protein and fiber, which we'll talk about later, but that's something really good to add. You can just sprinkle it over like your eggs, put it in your smoothie. You don't taste it at all. You can just sprinkle it on some of your food. Peanut butter toast, if you guys do that, or avocado toast. Chia seeds have no flavor, so when you make the pudding, you can put your fruits and all that stuff in it, and it adds the flavor, and it's a healthy snack, and it's also really, really good for you. So that's another reason why I actually eat that myself, and I just want to plug that in for you guys. So another one, number 6, getting into the exercise, is doing more cardio. Yes, like we said, aerobic exercise, which is cardio, increases your heart rate to burn more calories. Now, they said studies show that adding more cardio to your routine can result in significant weight loss, especially when paired with a healthy diet. So again, exercising, diet, sleep, all that goes hand in hand. You want to do all of these things together so that your body can lose weight naturally, more efficiently, and in a healthy way. Tip number 7, keep a food journal. This is very helpful if you're somebody who constantly probably snacks or you don't eat enough as well, and you can actually kind of monitor what you're eating. For me, I was to the point where I wasn't monitoring what I was eating because I'm always on the go, and sometimes I forget to grab something quick to eat, and that's not good as well because that can also harm you with losing weight if that's something you're trying to do. So your body needs these foods to keep you going, fuel and energy, and also to not pull away from other I'm trying not to go in too deep detail, but basically you don't want to go in the hunger mode because your body's going to start pulling from different areas, which will eventually cause you to gain weight sometimes and not even lose the weight that you're trying to do. So make sure you're having, all the meals you're supposed to, and also within the ranges you're supposed to, whatever your calorie goal is, or just not overdoing it if you don't actually count calories and macros and things like that. Just keeping a journal, you can actually see the kinds of food you're eating. But if you do have like Fitness Pal and some other ones, I forget the other ones, but there's all kinds of diet journals you can have on there. They can tell you your calories, things you want to look out for, which is like the sugar or sodium, carbs. Just kind of looking at some of those levels, and you can kind of tone them down and scale them down for whichever ones, to kind of fit your health. I don't want to say diet, but your lifestyle that you need. So just being mentally aware and actually seeing those numbers are different than just going day by day. So that's something you can do, is keep a journal. That's definitely a good idea. So tip number 8, fill up on fiber. Like I was talking about before, the chia seeds are definitely good in fiber. Saying here from research, adding more fiber to your diet is a common weight loss strategy to help slow the emptying of your stomach and keeping you feeling fuller longer. So a lot of these fibers, again, are fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, and whole grains and all that are good options. And again, fruit is always good. Some people are kind of skeptical because of sugar and stuff like that. Some fruit naturally contain water, which also helps you stay hydrated and stuff. So just being mindful and keeping a balanced diet, and you will be fine. So getting the fiber in is definitely going to help you in losing weight. Number 9, mindful eating. Practicing mindful eating. Now, mindful eating is actually avoiding distractions. So if you're sitting in front of the TV mindlessly eating, you're not going to pay attention to how much you're actually eating. You might not even feel full, you're gonna still feel hungry, so you want to keep dibbling and dabbling trying to find whatever else you can. So what most people try to say is stay away from any TV, electronics, and just actually sit. They even said look at your food, notice how it smells, take smaller bites, actually chew your food all the way, and pay attention to how it looks and tastes. All those little tips are gonna help you actually get full more than what you would think that without all the other distractions. Scrolling on Instagram and Twitter while you're eating, not a good idea because you might overeat. Number 10, snack smarter. So finding healthy snacks will help you throughout the day. So some people like to say swapping out some of your snacks. Make sure you're getting protein with your snacks is a big thing, because without the protein, sometimes we might end up finding more fatty foods. And some people like to snack on, of course, like chips and all kinds of other different crackers and stuff like that. What you might want to try adding in is probably like some cheese and nuts or yogurt. Again, the chia pudding is also a good thing because that all has some sort of protein in it. Some people like boiled eggs and even some pieces of just cooked chicken with other fruits or something, if you might want to say fruits or vegetables, like, carrots, celery sticks, peanut butter, something like that is going to be a good snack and to help you throughout the day. So it's low in calories, but it's going to be good for you in the long run. Number 11, ditch the diet. Now, this is something we talked about a lot in kinesiology, some of my classes. I had a professor tell me that following diets are not good. Some people, they may work for, they have to, like what I say, I have to follow a FODMAP diet. That's simply, some people say just not following them long term. So the FODMAP diet for me is eliminating foods and slowly reintroducing them to see what kind of triggers you have and what foods you can actually eat and tolerate. So some people have to follow diets like the DASH diet, Atkins diet, paleo, and all these other diets, keto. But some people may have to do that for health reasons and stick with it, whereas other people may try these and like intermittent fasting. Sometimes with these diets, when you stop them, the progress you just made is just gonna go back, and sometimes even past the point where you started. So sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes it's not. You want to make healthy choices, if you want to say, like a lifestyle, so you don't want to call them diets, but just slowly adding different elements of those diets, if you want to say, and improving your health and your eating and things like that, because you don't want to do some of these habits to make you lose weight really fast. That's what we're talking about, and then once you stop, you just blow back up. That's not a good thing. So just taking some of the tips and stuff from different diets like that can help you along in your whole journey. So switch the word from diets to healthy journey. Number 12, you can squeeze in more steps. Getting those extra steps in the day will definitely help you burn some calories. That's why even for me, if I didn't feel like exercising or if I physically could not, I was going out for walks and things like that. Whenever you can, just walking down the street or taking the stairs sometimes instead of taking the elevator. Those little tips like that can help you. Number 13, you want to set some attainable goals. Yes, some people have a goal of losing weight. Like say I want to lose 13 pounds. Instead of just saying 13 pounds, you want to lose 13 pounds within 3 months or so. So it's not just all in like 1 week, 1 day that you can't really attain. You want to make sure that you're setting smart goals and putting steps in between to help you reach that goal. So as an example, somebody said, well, first starting off, we want to say smart goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, which is what we call SMART goals in the exercise, nutrition, health world, basically. So as an example, they said instead of adding a goal to lose 10 pounds, set a goal to lose 10 pounds in 3 months by keeping a food journal, going to the gym 3 times a week, and adding several servings of vegetables to each meal. Now that sounds like a more specific goal instead of just losing 10 pounds. How are you going to lose 10 pounds? So you're going into more detail, and that's the steps that we said necessary to help you go along with this journey and actually set and reach these goals. Number 14, a big one is keeping stress under control. Now, like we said, stress adds extra hormones and that affects your body negatively by adding, fat in other areas, as well as the sleeping and things like that. Things were going on bad with the pandemic and stuff like that. So I know a lot of stress came from that and dealing with other events that may have followed from that. But you guys want to try to limit these stress levels. That's why sometimes I like going for those walks. Try some form of meditation, if you want to say praying meditation, just thinking and clearing your mind, which is why I like going on walks and hikes, because that's something that does for me. And exercising as well. I don't know if you're one of those people who exercise helps that, or just doing some kind of activity that may help you stay at peace. So for me, listening to music and things like that, exercising, going out with friends, like I said, that may be ways to help lower your stress levels. So people may not know it, but stress levels can actually contribute to a lot of the weight gain that people may have. And it's not like overnight. Sometimes it just happens over time. which people really would not notice. But now we know reducing stress levels so we can kind of eliminate that weight gain. Number 15, trying HIIT. HIIT is high intensity interval training, which is, I don't want to say shocking your body, but you're going to keep going with these actions with limited amount of rest. So if you want to go with the more professional description, it is pairs of intense bursts of movement with brief recovery periods to help keep your heart rate elevated, which sometimes cardio and HIIT, you can do both of those, but instead of doing cardio like running steady on the treadmill, doing those HIIT workouts, like I said, you're kind of jumping from thing to thing, going, say if you want to say jumping jacks for a minute, rest for 30 seconds, then go straight into high knees for a minute, rest for another 30 seconds, burpees, something continuing like that. And depending on how intense you do it is how long you want to do it. So if you do very intense workouts, 20 minutes really is all you would need, but if you can do more, that's great as well. And just kind of keep going with that in the short periods of rest, and that's a good idea for exercise as well. You can even try HIIT, maybe if you want to say you're sprinting for a certain amount of time and then resting, sprinting for 30 seconds, rest 10 seconds, and something like that. That's something that your body can handle. Just find ways to move your body like that you can actually handle with whatever movements you can do. Now, one thing that I just saw, HIIT can actually decrease belly fat, increase weight loss, and also been shown to burn more calories than other activities such as biking, running, and resistance training. So again, switching off days with some of the resistance training and the HIIT workouts and just regular cardio, that's really good for you. Number 16 is using smaller plates. So if you have an issue with overeating, just swap it out for a smaller plate so you won't overstuff and add more on your plate. Sometimes your eyes can be bigger than your stomach, and starting off with those smaller plates, drinking a glass of water before, some of these tips we talked about, and away from distractions and eating, that can also help you as well. Number 17, taking probiotic supplements. That's something that I need to do as well for my stomach. There's all kinds of things that you can do now. There's actual pills and probably liquid. I actually found this drink from Wegmans. If I remember the name of it, I will plug it in. I think Olipop might be one, and this Poly something, I'm not for sure, Polypop or something, I don't remember the name. But that actually has probiotics and sometimes prebiotics in the drink. It's like a healthy sparkling water soda. So you can find other foods and drinks and stuff that actually have. There's so many things that came out now that actually have these elements and stuff inside them. So it's really cool, the things that we've come up with now. So it's showing that when you add probiotics, it can improve weight loss by increasing the excretion of fat and alternating hormone levels to reduce your appetite. So that's how that works. And number 18, if you want to practice some yoga, that's good. I don't know if I would say I do yoga, but I like to do some stretching and things like that. And yoga can also help decrease your stress and anxiety and things like that. That's gonna help contribute to some of the weight gain and fat gain and stuff like that. So yoga definitely is a good type and form of exercise, stress reliever, if you want to say, to add into your daily living to help you reduce some of this fat. And along with it, reducing your stress levels, I actually just saw that it may be tied with emotional eating for some of you. If you may have that issue, reducing your stress and anxiety can help you with that aspect, if that's something that you need. Number 19, simple enough, chew slower. Don't just swallow your food whole. Take the time, chew your food. It's not going anywhere, guys. You don't have to eat that fast. Take slower, smaller bites and chew your food so your body can actually digest it, and it gives you time to actually feel full, like you're getting the food. You won't feel as hungry afterwards. Number 20, eat a healthy breakfast. That's something that I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with. Some people do that intermittent fasting where they skip the breakfast. Some people, depending on the time zone that you do it, that's one thing as well. For me, sometimes I just have coffee and go, which I know is not good. So when that happens, I try to get little snacks or breakfast stuff that I can make on the go, which I did those rice cakes with peanut butter, bananas, and chia seeds on top. Some people like honey or maybe like a Nutella or something like that. You can probably do that as well, but for me, I can't have that. But that's something light breakfast for me. Like avocado toast is another one, or if you want to put it on a bagel or something. Just getting something in your stomach so you won't get too hungry. Like I said, when you're, I don't want to say starve yourself, but if you're not eating, like I said, that can cause you to probably gain fat instead of losing it, and you don't want that. So eating breakfast can keep your hunger under control and your appetite and things like that. Even if you don't want to eat or you're not a coffee drinker or anything like that, make a smoothie or something like that you can take on the go, which is super easy. Grab a protein bar or something if you don't eat the big breakfast with eggs, bacon, or whatever else you may have. That will be a really good tip, to have some of those stuff prepared for you. Some fruit in a bag like I do, fruit and nuts. Anything, might be better than nothing. And I realize having those small snacks even help me as well through the day. Number 21, again, experimenting with intermittent fasting. I kind of wouldn't really suggest this for the average everyday person because some people may not know how to do this. To do this correctly, intermittent fasting is refraining from eating foods. Some people may drink, of course, drinking water and having liquid like coffee or other beverages and stuff throughout the day to a certain point. Like, I know one person that this works very well for is the actor Terry Crews, if you're familiar with him, and you can see the muscle and how fit he looks. But the problem with people doing this is they would fast from eating, and then once it's that time frame for them to eat, like eating one meal a day, some people do, they would just go and pig out, like getting fast food or just unhealthy options, which is not the point. So like he explains well, he says he's not going out doing those things. So once you fast from that time period, when you actually eat, you eat some of these good foods that we were talking about, like the chickens and meat, and adding those other, limiting those refined carbs and adding your fruits and vegetables, whatever it may be, and making a well-balanced meal that you need. So that's one big thing too. If you're not familiar with the nutrition side, I would refrain from intermittent fasting because you might end up just starving yourself, and that's something that you don't want to do. So this is actually one of the trickiest, if you want to say diets, I think, intermittent fasting, because you really have to know what you're doing when you're doing this. Number 22, limiting processed foods. That is something that I live by. Especially with the diet that I've been following. I keep saying diet and I don't want to say diet, but that's what it's called for FODMAP, for health reasons. So basically that eating and lifestyle has forced me to kind of stay away from some of the processed food. Sometimes I know we can't avoid it, but it's good if we can without it, because like I'm reading and thinking about it at the same time, processed food is high in sugars, sodium, and just kind of overall stuff that you don't want to eat. So you have to try to eat more whole foods. Plant-based foods is a good plant-based diet. Plant-based diet is not going vegan or vegetarian. It's just kind of adding more of those healthy natural foods and stuff, which is really good to follow. Every once in a while, somebody might want a cookie, a Oreo, Pop-Tart chips, something, but just not adding that and keeping that in your diet. Eating that every day, those sugary sodas and juice and all that stuff, it's okay, but you don't want to do that all the time. You can eat it in moderation. And the last point, number 23, is cut back on sugar. That's one thing I've been doing as well, is watching the added sugar in drinks. I like to drink Gatorades and the Body Armor. Until recently, I actually looked at the Body Armor. It does contain a lot of added sugar. That's what you want to try to stay away from, is those added sugars. Again, like your sodas and different kinds of foods and stuff might have a lot of added sugar that you might not even think, but you just have to check it and see. So again, eating some more of those plant-based foods or less processed foods, you won't have to worry about that. A lot of the natural foods and things like that, there's no added sugar because it's pretty much fresh. And also cooking your meals and snacks, preparing them ahead, is another good thing. So again, the bottom line, adding and incorporating some of these tips to your lifestyle is going to help you. So making a few modifications to your lifestyle and things like that is going to help you improve on your weight loss journey. I actually like going through this with you guys and kind of breaking some things down and talking about it a little bit more. If you guys have any questions, you can let me know as well. But for me, follow me on this journey, because I did find some good tips on here for myself as well in speaking and looking through this. That's another reason why I want to share with you guys. I like sharing stuff like this with you. Anything that I learn, I like to pass it along, and we can all go and learn from this journey. So if you guys might know something that I don't, you can comment below, and I'm all ears. I like responding and commenting and talking with you guys. A lot of this information and stuff like that I share, again, like I said, my background. I haven't talked too much about this on my channel, but I've been trying to add some more of this in for you guys so you can know, and I like to break it down in a simple terms so people will understand. Hopefully it was really helpful and I didn't ramble or talk your ears off, because apparently you guys clicked this video because you need some information that I was willing to share. And again, I'll have it linked down below so you guys can check that out on your own time.